I stood in the corner of the Grand Ballroom at the Ritz-Carlton, wearing a simple black dress that probably cost more than my sister's car, though she'd never know that. My father's 60th birthday celebration was in full swing, and somehow I'd been relegated to helping the wait staff, courtesy of my sister Victoria's brilliant party planning. "Emma, darling," Victoria called out, waving an empty champagne glass. "Be a dear and get refills for the important guests." She emphasized the word, important, while adjusting her designer dress, a gaudy thing that screamed new money. I took the glass, suppressing a smile as I thought about the notification I'd received earlier from my assistant. The Forbes article was scheduled to go live in exactly 47 minutes. After 8 years of carefully guarded anonymity, my identity as the founder of Phoenix Technologies would finally be revealed. "At least one daughter understands her place," my father, James Anderson, remarked loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. He stood with his country club friends, proudly introducing Victoria as the newly appointed VP at Goldman Sachs, a position that had more to do with our family name than her capabilities. I moved through the crowd with practiced invisibility, the same skill that had allowed me to build a tech empire while my family thought I was still figuring things out. They had no idea that their struggling daughter had revolutionized artificial intelligence, or that the mysterious tech founder they'd read about in business magazines was serving them champagne. "Emma's doing her best," I overheard my mother telling her friends. "Not everyone can be as successful as Victoria. At least she's working, even if it's just at that little software company." That little software company was actually my cover. A small tech consultancy I'd started as a front while Phoenix Technologies developed the AI technology that would change everything. Tomorrow, that same technology would be announced as the biggest breakthrough in artificial intelligence history. "Still playing with computers?" My brother-in-law Mark smirked as I passed. He was Victoria's perfect match, a banking executive who measured success by the size of his bonus. "Victoria mentioned you were doing some kind of coding work. Have you considered letting me help you find a real job?" I checked my watch. 30 minutes until the article went live. My phone buzzed silently in my pocket. A message from my assistant. "Stock market opening bell tomorrow. All preparations complete. Current valuation estimate, $8.2 billion. Emma." Victoria's voice cut through my thoughts. "Stop daydreaming and serve the champagne. Daddy's about to give his speech." I watched my father take center stage, champagne in hand. "I'm blessed," he began, "to have a daughter who truly understands success." He beamed at Victoria, who carries the Anderson name with pride and accomplishment. My mother dabbed at her eyes with an expensive handkerchief, while Victoria preened under the attention. I counted down the minutes, remembering all the family dinners where they'd questioned my choices, all the times they'd told me to give up my computer hobby and join Victoria in finance. "And of course," my father continued with a slight grimace, "Emma's, well, she's finding her way." Polite laughter rippled through the crowd. I glanced at the massive TV screens mounted around the ballroom, normally displaying birthday wishes but programmed to switch to financial news at exactly 8 p.m. 3 minutes to go. Victoria approached me with another empty glass. "When you're done playing waitress, we need to have a serious talk about your future. Mark knows someone at his bank who might give you a chance, despite your limited qualifications." I took her glass, noting the expensive watch on her wrist, a poor investment compared to the tech stocks I'd been quietly accumulating. "Thanks, Victoria. I'll think about it." The TV screens flickered. My phone vibrated, a final message from my assistant. "Breaking news starting. Good luck, boss." I stood perfectly still as the screens changed and a news anchor appeared. "Breaking news. The tech world's biggest mystery is about to be solved. The identity of Phoenix Technologies founder, whose AI breakthrough has revolutionized the industry, will be revealed tonight." The champagne glasses in my family's hands would soon hit the floor, but for now I simply watched as their perfect world prepared to shatter. The first sign that something was changing came from the phones. Like a wave of electronic whispers, notifications began lighting up screens across the ballroom. The carefully choreographed birthday celebration started to fracture as guests glanced at their devices, then at me, then back at their phones in disbelief. "Breaking news. Phoenix Technologies founder revealed. Emma Anderson's net worth soars to $8.4 billion. The TV screens around the ballroom synchronized to the financial news channel. My professional headshot, taken last week for this exact moment, filled every screen. The headlines scrolled beneath my image. Tech's most mysterious founder unveiled. Emma Anderson's AI revolution. The champagne glass in Victoria's hand slipped first, shattering against the marble floor. The sound seemed to break whatever spell had held the room in suspended animation. "This must be some mistake," my father stammered, his speech forgotten. His eyes darted between my face and the screens, trying to reconcile his failing daughter with the woman being described as tech's most brilliant innovator. The news anchor's voice filled the suddenly silent ballroom. In a stunning revelation, the founder of Phoenix Technologies has been identified as Emma Anderson, the 28-year-old daughter of prominent banker James Anderson. Sources confirm that Phoenix's revolutionary AI platform, which has been in secret development for 8 years, will begin trading tomorrow with an expected market capitalization exceeding $20 billion. Mark, who'd been so condescending about my little tech support job just minutes ago, had turned an interesting shade of gray. His hands shook as he pulled out his phone, likely checking the pre-IPO stock options he'd dismissed as tech bubble nonsense last year. "Emma." My mother's voice was barely a whisper. "What is this?" Before I could answer, the doors burst open. Sarah, my assistant, strode in with our executive team. She timed their entrance perfectly, just as the news was breaking that Phoenix Technologies had secured contracts with every major tech company in Silicon Valley. "Ms. Anderson," Sarah said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "the board members are waiting for your call, and the NYC wants to confirm you'll be ringing the opening bell tomorrow morning." Victoria, who had finally found her voice, stepped forward. "This isn't possible. Emma's been working at some small software company. She's been serving drinks all evening." I smiled, removing the simple silver band from my finger, the quantum encryption device that had protected Phoenix's proprietary technology for years. "Actually, Victoria, I own that small software company. It's one of Phoenix's research facilities. One of 57 to be exact." The news continued to detail my accomplishments. Youngest self-made female billionaire, revolutionary patents in quantum computing and artificial intelligence, secret contracts with government agencies. Each revelation hit my family like physical blows. But you've been struggling," my father protested weakly. "Living in that small apartment, driving that old car." Sarah stepped forward, tablet in hand. "Ms. Anderson owns the entire building, sir. The old car is a custom-designed vehicle with more computing power than most corporate servers. She's been testing Phoenix's autonomous driving systems." The Carmichaels, who had watched me serve them champagne all evening, were now desperately trying to catch my eye. They weren't alone. Half the room seemed to be suddenly remembering every dismissive comment they'd made over the years. "The market analysts are predicting the stock could double within hours of trading," the news anchor continued. "Phoenix Technologies' AI platform is being hailed as the most significant technological advancement since the Internet." My father sank into his chair, his birthday speech cards scattered on the floor. Victoria stood frozen, her perfect party imploding around her. Mark was frantically typing on his phone, probably trying to figure out how he'd missed investing in Phoenix when he'd had the chance. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sarah announced, "Ms. Anderson needs to take this call from the Prime Minister of Japan. If you'll excuse us." As I turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of the seating chart Victoria had so carefully arranged, the one that hadn't even included my name. Tomorrow, every business publication in the world would have my name on their front page. "Emma, wait," Victoria called out, her voice carrying a note of desperation I'd never heard before. "We should talk about this, as a family." I paused at the door, thinking about all the family discussions I'd been excluded from over the years. The investment opportunities offered to Victoria but not to me. The family dinners where my computer hobby had been a source of mockery. "I'm sorry, Victoria," I replied, letting just a hint of satisfaction color my voice, "but I have a board meeting to attend. Perhaps we can discuss this after tomorrow's bell-ringing ceremony? I believe it's being broadcast live. You can watch it from here." The clicking of my Louboutin heels echoed through the stunned silence as I walked out, leaving behind the remnants of their shattered assumptions. Outside, my helicopter was already waiting on the roof, ready to take me to the series of interviews and meetings that would fill the next 24 hours. Sarah fell into step beside me. "Your father's stocks just lost 30% of their value," she murmured. "Investors are pulling out of his firm to try to get in on Phoenix's IPO." I nodded, remembering his words from 8 years ago. "Real wealth comes from banking, Emma. Tech companies are for dreamers." "Well, father," I thought as we stepped into the elevator, "let's see what tomorrow brings." The morning sun streaked across Manhattan's skyline as my helicopter descended toward the New York Stock Exchange. Below, crowds had already gathered, their phones raised to capture the arrival of tech's newest billionaire. The previous night's revelations had spread like wildfire across social media, transforming me from an unknown entity to the most talked-about person in the financial world overnight. "Your family is already here," Sarah informed me, checking her tablet. "They arrived 20 minutes ago. Your father tried to use his Goldman Sachs connections to get onto the trading floor." I smiled, adjusting my emerald green Armani suit. "And?" "The NYSE president personally informed him that only authorized Phoenix Technologies executives are allowed during the bell-ringing ceremony." Sarah's lips twitched. "Apparently Victoria tried to argue that as your sister, she should be included in the family photos." The helicopter touched down. Through the tinted windows I could see the media frenzy waiting below. In less than an hour, Phoenix Technologies would start trading, and every financial analyst was predicting a historic opening. "The latest valuation estimates?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "Pre-market trading suggests we'll open above $500 per share," Sarah replied. "That would put your net worth closer to $10 billion. The Wall Street Journal is calling it the most anticipated IPO since Facebook." As we descended to street level, I caught sight of my family standing behind the press barricade. They looked like they hadn't slept, not surprising given the chaos I'd left behind at the birthday party. Victoria's perfect makeup couldn't hide her reddened eyes, and my father's usual commanding presence had diminished considerably. "Ms. Anderson," reporters called out as I walked past. "How does it feel to become America's youngest female billionaire? What made you keep your identity secret for so long? Is it true that Phoenix's AI technology has military applications?" I moved through the crowd with practiced ease, our PR team deflecting questions until the official press conference. But I paused when I heard my father's voice cutting through the chaos. "Emma, please, we need to talk." Turning slightly, I saw security holding him back as he tried to push through. Victoria stood beside him, clutching what looked like old family photos, probably planning to sell our intimate family story to the highest bidder. "Ms. Anderson," a familiar voice called out. "Over here." I turned to see Richard Chin, CEO of Global Tech, one of our biggest investors. He'd been trying to uncover Phoenix's founder for years, offering billions for a controlling stake in the company. Now he stood among my board members, looking both impressed and chagrined. "I must say you played this brilliantly," he said as we walked into the NYSE together. 8 years of building in secret, letting everyone underestimate you. Your AI platform is generations ahead of anything else on the market. Behind us, I could hear Victoria trying to convince security that she was part of the executive team. My mother's voice carried too, telling anyone who would listen about how she'd always believed in Emma's potential. The trading floor was a hive of activity. Brokers rushed back and forth, phones rang constantly, and the electronic boards flashed with anticipation. Everyone knew this wasn't just another IPO. Phoenix's technology was about to reshape entire industries. 5 minutes to bell, Sarah announced. I took my position on the platform, surrounded by our board members and key executives. Below, traders gathered with their eyes fixed on the screens. The world was watching. "Emma, honey." My mother had somehow managed to get within shouting distance. "We're so proud of you. We always knew you were special." I thought back to all the times they'd dismissed my work, the family events where I'd been seated in the kitchen, the condescending advice to get a real job. 8 years of being treated like a failure while I built something revolutionary. The NYSE president handed me the gavel. "Ready, Ms. Anderson?" I looked down at my family one last time. Victoria was frantically typing on her phone, probably trying to buy shares before trading began. My father stood silent, finally understanding the magnitude of what his struggling daughter had achieved. "Phoenix Technologies," the announcer's voice boomed, led by founder and CEO Emma Anderson, will begin trading under the symbol PTX. The countdown began. 10 seconds to change everything. With perfect clarity, I remembered my father's words at my MIT graduation. Tech companies come and go, Emma. Banking is forever. The bell rang. The floor erupted in cheers as the first trade hit the board. PTX opening at $572 per share. Screens across the world lit up as Phoenix Technologies officially became one of the most valuable companies in history. Sarah appeared at my elbow with a phone. The president would like to congratulate you personally. Also, the major networks are ready for your interviews. I watched the stock price climb higher with each passing second. Across the trading floor, my father's face had gone pale as he realized the true scope of what I'd built. Victoria had stopped typing, her expression frozen as she watched her failing sister become one of the world's richest people. Ms. Anderson, Richard Chin said, extending his hand. Welcome to the big leagues. Though I suspect you've been here all along, haven't you? I shook his hand, thinking about the long path that had led to this moment. The lonely nights coding, the secret meetings, the years of careful planning. The constant underestimation that had become my greatest advantage. Sarah, I said, turning away from my family's stunned faces, let's begin the press conference. It's time to show the world what Phoenix can really do. As I walked toward the media room, I heard Victoria's voice one last time. Emma, please. We're family. Family. I smiled, remembering the seating chart from last night's party. Sometimes, success is the best revenge, especially when served with a side of champagne. The doors closed behind me as Phoenix's stock continued to soar. Outside, a new day was dawning, and with it, a new world order. One where the daughter they'd dismissed as a failure was now the one holding all the cards. And this was just the beginning.